What's up, you guys? It's your girl, Ms Maggie T with Atlanta Falcons Nation. If you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button so you won't miss another post from me. But let's go ahead and get into an article I found from The Athletic by Jeff, who sat down with Arthur Blank in regards to talking about the relationship that went south with Julio Jones. And you know how that went. He was traded to the Tennessee Titans after that big interview with Shannon Sharpe that Julio Jones kind of voiced his opinion that he was out of there. Basically, he was not happy with the franchise and he wanted to be gone. Did that seal his fate? Was that premeditated and done purposely, or was he caught off guard? And then, of course, negotiations finally happened after that because, hey, it put the Falcons on notice, didn't it? Now, Arthur Blank went into why he called him a Falcon for life. He felt that Julio Jones deserved to be with the franchise for life. He felt he was a great asset to the team, and it was intention to show support for Julio Jones. But, of course, that backfired, and I think that he probably won't coin that phrase ever again on a player because you can't control what happens with these players, even though you want them to always remain. But if a player is not happy, a player is not happy. You know what I'm saying? So Blank spoke about that, he didn't understand why Julio Jones felt disrespected by the organization, acknowledged that the players' relationship with some in the building had frayed, and that Jones' infrequent availabilities to practice had become a significant issue with the front office and coaches. So, with that statement, it's clear that there was somebody out there, they didn't say who, that made Julio Jones uncomfortable, possibly. He wasn't happy, and he just like, I'm not going to come and practice. Who's to say? You never know. But, of course, they went into a little bit more deeper with Blank about how he felt with the responsibility of where this franchise is currently as far as failures, as well as the large contracts that was awarded to some players that, in my opinion, some was not deserving of it. And he stated, it's easy to look back with hindsight and say, should we have done that? Look back at the Julio situation in 2019. We, being Thomas, Coach Quinn, the player, and his agent, Jimmy Sexton, were all kind of at odds with each other. We got a contract done. We felt it was very generous. It made him the top paid receiver in NFL history with $64 million and $66 million guaranteed. But for whatever reason, he felt it wasn't sufficient respect. I don't know why he'd feel that way, but he did feel that way. And I honestly felt that conversation should have taken place right there in that meeting. You got a contract placed in your face. You're sitting there with your agent, etc. But you still signed the contract. That's the part I'm not understanding. If you didn't want to be with the franchise, why sign it? Voice your opinions then. Arthur Blank shouldn't be in question about how, Julio Jones felt when everybody that made a difference in that very moment was right there in that meeting. So it makes you wonder what truly went down in these locker rooms. Did he have a respect for the coaches? Anything. You never know where the animosity came from, but it was clear as day how there was tension on the sidelines. I can see that in the 2020 season, honestly. Julio Jones just wasn't happy. It seemed like he was a little bit more argumentative, and he did hold out on practice, which we're used to, but it just seemed like this is something that's happening every year, especially since that contract negotiation. Julio Jones just wasn't happy, and I just felt like, why waste our time and go ahead and speak it and get gone. If you don't want to be here, you don't want to be here, definitely. And of course, after the negotiation contract, Arthur Blank said that the relationship did change. It wasn't the same. He said, and if you spoke to the players on the team, not that they would say anything, but I think they would tell you the same thing. Things change. And he just wasn't happy. Look, he gave us 10 great years. He's going to be a Hall of Fame player. He was a good teammate for all the period of time, but his ability or willingness to practice the way he did early in his career was different. There were some people who were in the building who had an effect on him, and he wanted out. And the last thing Coach Arthur Smith wants is a player who doesn't want to be here. And that speaks volumes. As you know, Arthur Smith don't play that. especially when those earlier press conference that he had, especially when practice started to proceed, he basically dodged the questions about Julio Jones. It's like, I'm focused on the players that are here now, and that's my main focus. Got to get the team prepared for people that want to be there. And that's just what it is. Julio Jones kind of was spoiled, in my opinion, and wanted his way. And I guess this was the last straw for him, because this particular time, he is accountable for his own actions, even in absence or not. If you're not there, that means you're not wanting to be there. Bottom line. So, Arthur Blank went a little bit about how he did like Arthur Smith's hiring, due to the fact that it was attracted to him, his success in the red zone, his background and emphasis on running the game, and his schemes sold him. And he said he felt a lot better about our offense. If you run the ball, you control the game, you control the clock. You go back to the Super Bowl, it's 28-3. If we never threw the ball again, we would have had an even higher percentage of chance to win the game. It's not a criticism of Matt Ryan or the great receivers we've had, Julio, Roddy White, Calvin Ridley, and his personality. He's very much committed to having 53 guys holding them responsible and accountable for what their work is. It doesn't make a difference how much a player is getting paid. And that's another hint, man. It's another jab. It's basically like Julio Jones just wanted to be paid, not necessarily wanted to play. That's just the bottom line. That's just how I felt about the situation as well. Then he went in on general manager Terry Fontenot in his hiring. And he said, Terry has unique experience in an area we haven't done a great job in, and that's the pro personnel side. He did that most of his career in New Orleans, and he came out of the organization, which is difficult for a Falcons person to say, that was very well run and excel at the highest level, and not just because of the quarterback and the coach. So he felt that hiring was a great need for the Falcons franchise, and I definitely agree with both of those signings. But, with that being said, where do we go from here? You focus on the players that are there. And now this new regime will have every last player accountable for their actions. And that's just the direction we needed to be in. And, I wish Julio Jones all the best of luck, but, that wasn't going to fly well here. Sorry. We needed players that's going to be there participating and doing the damn thing. So that's all I got to say on that article. Of course, I didn't want to go too deep into that article because I want to give the Athletic the credit. Yeah, I'll go back and kind of read all of that, if you will. But I appreciate you guys tuning in into this long segment a little bit. Had to kind of go in on that because, Julio Jones is always the subject of topics in the franchise of Atlanta Falcons. But that's just how it is. You love them, you miss them, But until the next time, this is Maggie T with Atlanta Falcons Nation. And we are the nation. And I'm out. Peace.